All right. Thanks for being here. Jon Fischer, photographer. I'm sure there's other things too. Where do you think that the desire to take pictures comes from?
Mine or anybody's?
I guess anyone's, and then yours specifically.
Well, it's a cool question because everybody's really different about this. I'm just sort of focused on this. I want to shut myself off. Let me just. Okay. All right. Everybody is really different about that. Some people, love capturing beauty, and especially some people just love capturing beauty. Some people like creating the beauty and then capturing the beauty. Some people like capturing emotions. It's actually capturing possibilities, believe it or not. So capturing emotional truths that are sometimes hidden from the subject themselves. And in this case, almost there's something about the industry that I'm in so a desire that something more is possible. And I had the capability with this thing called the camera to discover it, to see it. Usually it's people related. So it's like, wow, I see that. And you don't even see that. It's there. And I promise I'm going to get it and we'll take a picture. So it's actually this desire, this awareness. I see something sometimes people don't see. And it's almost like I have to capture it and show it to them.
How do you think people develop an eye for photography, if that's a thing? Like I've seen some people take pictures and I've seen other people take pictures, and some are more aesthetically pleasing than others. And I wonder, why is that? And is it something that can be developed, or is it something that you just have?
Sorry, I'm just moving my phone. It's both. So I think there's like an awareness, I think there's natural inclination to whatever the topic happens to be, whatever the direction somebody's going in. Like if it is beauty, if it's events, weddings, that type of thing, or if it's people, or if it's beauty, or if it's nature. And I think there's like an initial inclination that's like natural to be able to have that eye. And absolutely the eye can be developed and it grows over time too, just naturally.
I found one of the things about taking pictures, especially if it's a scene that's not still, like it's moving, you're moving or it's moving, then you almost over time, it seems, you begin to understand the flow of things. And often for me, when I get to the point where I'm like, that's the picture I want to take, it's too late because the moment has passed. So you have to start developing that feeling of, I think what's going to happen next is what I want to take a picture of. So you have to be ready for it and then capture it when it happens, because if you're just looking at it, it's often too late to take the picture of it to get that perfect shot.
Yeah, that's astute. That's really true. Yeah. And I think my way of shooting is knowing that is really big. That's a big part of the way I shoot, is knowing that will happen and finding ways to shoot it, not just predicting, but even other ways to shoot to make certain I'm not missing something.
Do you do video as well, or are you photography only?
Photography only.
Okay. What kind of equipment do you use, or are you still using the same stuff you started with, or do you go back to some of that just for nostalgia or a look, or is it more keeping up with the technology of the digital?
I use whatever kind of, so right now it's mirrorless is the thing. So I'm a little bit keeping up with the technology for certain types of work I do. So certain types of work, for example, are really low light, like events. And I really want that ability for the camera that's really important to me, and to be able to capture a focus in the middle of an event. So certain things as it's improving, it's like, no, I need that. And I need that because that now it has this capability of doing it. So it's not that it's keeping up with just because that somebody says it's a better camera, but because it has this feature that I want. And in terms of the brand, I started out as a Nikon guy as a teenager, fell in love with it, really, really, really basic Nikon F,
Mhm.
manual everything. And when I started to become professional with the digital world, the Canon happened to have the features at the price that would get me started. So I ended up becoming Canon. And usually once you start buying lenses, you end up like by force, you're stuck. You're with a brand and you're staying with the brand, and switching brands is a big deal. So I'm Canon, but I'm also Nikon, and I'm also Sony, because for various reasons, trying out different things. And like right now, I'm happen to be in Costa Rica, and just for travel purpose, I have my Sony with me because it's lightweight, digital, it's mirrorless. So yeah.
Do you prefer the digital or optical zoom then? If you're switching out lenses, sounds like you go with the optical.
Believe it or not, my thing is not such a technically based thing that I even think so much about that stuff. So when I'm capturing people, it's really functionality. Like optical zoom would get you much cleaner images. Digital zoom is really just enhancing, I think, what already is there, and you have the digital imprint, and it's expanding it, it's changing it. I think actually, I don't know exactly what, but something like that. It's not really, it's the same image as coming into the camera, and it's being adjusted. And the optical zoom, you're actually different pixels are coming into the camera, so it's much cleaner. So depending on what I'm shooting, what I want, how clean do I need it to be, how so I would go with optical zoom. But so the way I shoot is really, eventually as we get into this, you'll see it's not, it's really more personal. I'm not really going for perfection in the way I'm shooting. I'm shooting something very personal. And so I'm shooting for the purpose of what I'm shooting for, not the perfection of the image, not like the technical, like there's a technical baseline that I need to arrive at. And actually, so as a teacher, I'm like teaching my students and, the photography world in general, that perfection only goes a certain point, especially when that image has a purpose. Like when the client is coming to you, hey, I need a headshot for this. Like for this is really what we need to focus on. Why? Well, actually, do you want me to just give you my little, like, start going off of what really I do, or should I
Sure.
just let it evolve?
Sure. Let's hear it.
Okay. So I'm bringing to the photography industry, and especially specifically the headshot and branding industry, that we're kind of missing something. And it's exactly as you're going. Like the first questions are technical questions. What camera to use, digital, those technical things, the perfection of the image, the quality of the image. And that's, to some degree in our industry, that's what really matters. Like, for headshots. So I'm working towards people that want to do branding or headshot photography, which what that means to me is the subject is camera awareness. The subject knows you're there. They're waiting for the click, and they're coming to you with a purpose. And that, to me, the purpose is the thing that's often not given enough attention to the photographer, because the photographer, they're thinking they need a perfect image, and they're going to do their very, very best to give the most amazing, epic image with lighting and posing and the absolute no noise whatsoever and perfection. And because a lot of it, they want to be proud of their work. In some ways they want to show off, in some ways they just want to tell people that they're a high quality photographer. And so it's a little bit selfish, honestly, because it's, to some degree, sometimes they want their image as a photographer to be what is standing out. And the thing is, perfection doesn't do the job usually. Like perfection, a high quality image, especially for a headshot, that's base level. Like that, shows their target audience that, like, let's say somebody's coming in, they're a service business, let's say they're a therapist or a lawyer. They're coming in, they want to upsell, or a coach or something. They want to up level their business. They need more work, and they thought that somebody told them they need a better headshot. And a headshot does something. Like, a headshot is marketing in a way that people don't think that it is marketing by itself. Not it's a part of a campaign, but it itself could do so much work that we're not thinking about. Like, for a therapist to come in saying, I need a headshot, what she's saying is, I need this image to do its very best to allow my target audience, when they see it, to say, maybe there's something about this person, not the photo, but the person in the photo that I feel and connect with, and can say, oh yeah, that's kind of the person I want to fit with for, in sharing my deepest feelings. And also, I think I have a sense of expertise in her eye, that I sense that she's committed to make me feel better. Like, it's not going to be, I'm going to be chit-chatting with somebody forever. It's not just the warmth and sense of safety with her. It's, I trust her because I can see something about her that she's committed to. She's a committed kind of person. She's an expert, and I can actually be fixed or healed or something. So the sense of realness, the real person, is really what does the work. And our commitment as an industry to perfection and to technicality, and honestly, whoever's watching this, sorry, but to serving our own ego, to make certain we're delivering the best beautiful photo, is not serving our clients the way they could be served. Like, it could be that our primary thinking is, what can I possibly do to that image that will allow the viewer to say, yes, that's all I really should care about, period. I should be throwing out perfection, because really, that person looking at the photo is not going to pick that therapist because their lighting is better than the next one. It's going to be, there's something else about who that person is that will say, yeah, I get you. I kind of like you, right? It feels like I just met you, and I think we'd be a good fit. It's a really personal thing.
So it reminds me of the Seinfeld episode with the lady that had bad lighting, where
Right.
sometimes she looks
Two-Face.
great, and other
Two-Face.
times,
Two-Face.
yeah. There you go. So, lighting has something to do with it, but
It
and
does.
you don't want a picture of a person on a dating site that looks like they're a mortician or something, something more somber. So I understand the idea of capturing that truth. It does seem like you can put too much into a picture, just like with writing or any form of expression. I think that you try to make it too perfect. You airbrush it, you set up a scene that is not realistic, and then you have a camera that sees better than a person. So you're going to end up with an image that doesn't look normal because it's better than the human eye sees. So you don't want, it's like those close-ups of insects where you're like, wow, okay, that's what the insect looks like. That's not what you see normally. So
Right.
I think there's that line of, you want that authenticity of, okay, this is what I'm seeing with my own eyes, and it rings true with that. But what's the recipe then for capturing those other things based on whatever the job is, if it's for dating or for headshots for professions, to try to get through the message of what this person is more about? What's the recipe to do that in a portraiture? I don't know.
That's a
Headshot.
really great question. And just to back up a little bit what you're saying, so lighting is obviously, so lighting and posing, that's part of it. And it's not like no to that. Like, as even just incorrect shadowing could make a person scary, could make a person look scary, older, depending on what it is. It's like, it's almost like, that's first level. First level is you're a high quality photographer. You know how to take pictures, you know how to use lighting and posing, and that's base level. Got it. And there's something about the next level of really doing the conversion what will it take to allow the person to really say next when there's multiple photos next to each other? They're all high quality. They're all done correctly on a technical level. What will take somebody further to say, yeah, I think I'd like to work with you? And that's something different. And unfortunately, and it's really not like me, like, oh, you got to buy my course to find out. But it honestly, sometimes it really kind of is, because that question is really, I mean, like back up to how I'm in this industry, or how I got here, is that I was doing dating photos, and I had when I first, about 15 years ago, I started, I found that Canon, and it's like, wow, I want to do this. I did it when I was a kid, and I now can do this professionally. And I happened to have a friend who was a dating coach, a very high level dating coach, had many, many clients. And he said, hey, Jon, I think you'd be a good fit for dating profile photography, because of a certain way that you naturally bring out, they're not stiff photos you're taking, even for regular headshots. There's something different about the way you work. And then he was training me kind of like how my work could fit into the dating industry. And he said that and at some point I started bringing out happy a lot, because that's what I'm comfortable with. And that's, the easy thing. You crack a joke, you don't get a smile, you get happy, especially if you shoot a continuous few photos in a row, which is kind of part of what you were saying about the prediction thing. Some ways it's not, with this kind of thing, it's not prediction, is we're like creating a moment. We're like creating a moment, and then we're capturing that moment, but we have to shoot a few more photos during that moment to make sure we get it, versus waiting and clicking. It's a little bit different. But I was starting to get happy, and he said, hey, Jon, you know what? These people are not just looking for buddies. Happy is not, they're not just looking for best friends. They're looking for romantic partnerships. And he started saying, we need to capture different sides of each one of these people, like strength, softness, confidence, playfulness, so that a potential match looking at a collection of photos can really get a broad sense of the person. And, and I ended up doing about 1,000 of these shoots, and each shoot had about 7 mini shoots in it. And in each one of these mini shoots, like I'd be outside, like in a city, we'd move around different locations that would seem like it was a snapshots of their year, and it happened in a couple hours. But at each one of these mini shoots, so now 7,000 mini shoots, I had to capture authenticity, and I had to capture a different side of them. So I had to figure, and there weren't books about it. There weren't any courses on how do you do it. So I had to just figure out, how do you capture different sides of somebody? And I had to do that. And I had to become the master at it, because I had to, because he was my lead source. And I was making money because of him. And later on, I realized, wow, this same stuff I was doing for dating photography is really applicable for headshots, because getting a sense of the lawyer versus the therapist, like who is that lawyer? And it's more, especially, let's say even a criminal lawyer versus an estate lawyer. Let's say a criminal lawyer is like, you want to make sure they're going to keep you out of jail, so it's like, I would need like somebody I can look in their eye and say, they're like a Doberman pinscher, like they're going to not stop till they win. And I can see it, who they are, that kind of person that I trust. I know that I don't care about their nice. I don't care. I don't want to go to jail. And an estate lawyer, somebody passed. We're dividing up the estate. And I need that person to be kind and compassionate. I need that person to be an expert. They're going to get the job done. But also, I just really need the warmth. Somebody just passed. There's probably going to be conflicts, and there might be conflicts in the family about who gets what. And there's something I need to see that person. Do you have that emotional capacity to, first of all, are you kind? I want to see kindness, even from a lawyer. And I also maybe want to see a sense of that they have this awareness to navigate that tricky stuff of family stuff. So the answer is, and I'm sorry that I'm a little bit not so, easy. It's not so easy to answer that question, because I have a 3-month program, a masterclass that is what I'm teaching, what I'm presenting to answer that question. And there's many, many, many different ways of accomplishing it. And that's part of what I had to have, is I had to have backup plans. Like a photographer, of course, when you go on a job, you need a backup camera, you need backup film, you need backup batteries and memory and everything, because just in case. And what I had to do, I had to have backup plans of capturing the sense of the person, because unlike lighting, especially a studio lighting, you set it and the same thing happens each time, because you know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen with this kind of stuff, which everybody reacts differently. So I need to have many, many, many different plans, and I almost had to become like a ninja of figuring out how to get something. But I can actually show you just one example of some crazy, like almost like the extreme craziness of what's possible and how to accomplish something. And it's just insane how it works. And so one of the things I had to do is capture, like for the dating photography, I had to capture romance. Like how do you, like not sexiness. I had to capture an image that would allow the viewer to say, this person is not just looking for a buddy. They're available for a long-term romantic partnership. How the heck do you do that? Not a sexual thing, not a one night stand kind of thing, but there's something about it that I can look in their eyes and I can get that they were available and open to deep romance, to falling in love, right? How the heck do you do it? And I'm going to sort of demonstrate a little bit. It may or may not work, but it's the bizarreness that it could happen from do this, and this will happen. And what will happen is depth. It's not, it looks as if somehow you conjured up the truth of the person through a therapeutic process, but they're easy. Okay, I'm just going to do it. It's just kind of insane. I call it find me with your eyeballs, and it may or may not work right now. And when I do it with a client, I do it a few times. And one time when it happens, it's like, whoa, what was that? And I hope you don't get offended, because I'm going to be looking at you. And,
Okay.
and it just might be.
I specialize in smoldering.
What did you say?
I specialize in smoldering here.
But I'm going to say at some point there's going to be a connection with the camera, whoever's seeing. Somehow there's going to be a different kind of spark there. And if you can imagine capturing that spark, it's like, whoa, what was that? Okay, here's I look away from the camera. With my eyes, I'm focusing on the camera, but I can't quite see it. Right? And I say I'm going to lock my eyeballs. And over there, they're locked in place in the corner of my eyes. I put a fake smile on my face, and I slowly turn my head towards the camera. And does something happen? I'm just going to see what happens. And I'm not sure if you saw it, but I felt it. I wasn't feeling it for you there.
I'm getting a lot of Robert De Niro, but okay, all right. Are you available for a deep, meaningful relationship? I just saw it in your eyes.
So it's like there's something that happens, and in that moment, I'm actually feeling something, and I don't know why. I kind of have ideas what happened, but this collection of things, and that's the most extreme. Sometimes, for example, happiness. Sometimes if somebody is really, really focused on the camera, I need to get happy. So a general thing that most headshots, most needs are, you want to know that that person you're about to hire is pleasant, will be reasonably enjoyable to work with. If it's a hiring agency, the person is looking for a job, they want to know that their team's going to want to work with this person. I don't care how good they are. If they're a jerk, like I don't want them. If they're not pleasant, so I want to see a team player there. I want to see happy generally. So happy. There's different ways of getting happiness. Okay, another crazy thing. So I'm going crazy, and these are extremes, and there's lots of other subtle stuff in between. But the extreme, I call it the monkey dance, just to get happy. But again, with your question you asked is how do you really fine tune the specific thing? And I'm bleeding here, so if you see the blood, I'm okay. I just cut my finger. But the way that I think of it is like there's two dials. There's like an expertise dial and an approachability dial. And depending on the job, you have more or less of one or the other. The therapist is high on the approachability and yes on the expertise, but the really high on the approachability. A lawyer, let's say even that a lawyer would be skewed the other way. A roofer, they're the experts and get the job done, but I'm not going to see much. I don't care that much. So that's kind of the way I think. And there's different techniques to get strength and different techniques to get happy and different, somewhere. And then there's all kinds of, that's kind of really where it is. But this crazy one to get happy, which is often that's really hard to break somebody from the consciousness of the camera, and they're really not doing, they're doing the fake smile thing, and it's not working. It's just, they're trying too hard. They're too anxious, whatever. I just have to break them. And I call it the monkey dance. And here's one way to do it. And it's nuts. And that's the purpose of it. You have to be nuts. And that's where shooting multiple pictures is necessary. You can't predict this. My way of shooting this system, it's really not predictable. Like, you can't wait and click the way most seasoned photographers, they become expert at that. How do you to really predict? And they're really proud of that. But in this way of shooting, I'm creating a candid moment kind of, and it's really unpredictable. So you guys have to shoot a bunch of pictures during that period of time. So here's the monkey dance. And when you look at I'm really used to doing this, so it might not happen. But when you look at the picture, no matter how trying I was a second ago, you'll see an instant of, oh, he's being happy. And when I show that picture of me being happy, it will seem like, oh, I'm a happy kind of guy. So here we go. Monkey dance. Look in the sky, make some monkey noise or something, and look back in the camera. Woo, 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 woo. And it did, I'm used to doing it. It didn't quite happen, but somebody who's not used to doing it will feel like such a fool that will be a face of joy. And then I do it a few times, and I have a monkey version 1 and version 2. So there's lots of ways of bringing out with just tricks, moments of genuine truth of who the person is. And even though it just happens for a microsecond, when you snap it then and show it there, it looks like that's who the person is, even though it really just happened for a microsecond. And my job is not to, I want to find out who you are. Some people talk, like some people like that, or people that have done it for 30 years, maybe they're really good at getting this. And usually it's through banter and through really gentle bringing out the person's personality. I'm not necessarily good at that. And also with my shoots, I had 15 minutes to do it. I didn't have time. I needed tricks. I needed practical things to do that would accomplish the truth. And the cool thing is, even though they're kind of tricks, I'm capturing truth. I'm creating opportunities for a genuine side of the person to reveal itself for a moment and get captured. And so when you see it, it's truth. It's not a look. It's not an intentional thing. It has so much. It has this extra element of power because it's believable. It's true. And like a candid. A candid is a candid is a candid. When you see a candid photo, there's not like, oh, they faked it. You can't fake a candid. It's a revelation of something happened. That person felt this. It's obvious. You can't deny it. And I'm creating moments of candidness in my studio work that the end result is that's true. And so when you show truth to a potential client, it's like, it's almost as if they've already met you. It's like, wow, I know this person because I see who they are. And it's really, I'm adding, so this, I think it's required. I'm showing to the photography world that this is possible, to sculpt a particular personality of every single person that comes through your door. And I'm sorry to say, but once I'm revealing that it's possible, you might think about whether you might need to become the expert at it to serve your client the way they deserve to be served, to give them the best possible chance that photo will actually do all it possibly can to cause their target audience to say, yeah, I think I want to work with you because I kind of know you and I kind of like what I see.
I like it. It's not that it's not authentic, because I think it's different for every person's reaction is going to be their reaction. So if you're doing whether it's a dating photo or a professional one, and you think, okay, this is one that captures them happy, then you're going to see that if you ever see them happy. Like that millisecond of after the monkey dance, that's their true reaction to that. So if you see that in real life, you're going to have a true reaction. It's not like make a face that you think does this. It's,
You're right.
yeah, I like it. It's a better.
I actually really haven't thought of it that way, like that. I think of it more like what it's going to accomplish, because that's kind of what I think. I want my photos to accomplish what the person wants to accomplish, whether it's dating or business or whatever. But there's another level of it. It's just of truth. Well, there's a little bit of a tricky thing about that, because, well, let's go back to that, like that truth. So that's what the person is going to be like when they're happy. They're going to be, that's it, because you made that happen. It happened. And that's what they might look like when they're laughing, when they're really happy. That's what they'll look like. But the kind of tricky thing is that I've had to wrestle with this a little bit, even as I'm presenting this to the world, even doing it myself, is I'm not saying, it's not my job to determine who they are. It's my job to do the very best that they can succeed, right? That's my job. That's what I'm claiming our job as photographers. We are marketers, and it's our job to do our very best to make sure that that person can succeed. So guess, but it's a little bit tricky in this situation. They're coming in a really grumpy person, and I kind of know them personally, and I know they're really a grumpy person. I have they're like really a jerk, kind of. They're like not friendly, not nice. They're a therapist. I have the obligation to serve them, not to determine who they are, but to serve them my best. I have the obligation, and I know I can do it, to bring out that part inside them that is happy, right? That truly is loving and happy or whatever. I can do it. I can find a way to truthfully conjure it up so it truly comes up for a second, take the picture, and now they have that picture. Somebody look at it and say, wow, what a happy, friendly person. And they're not my job. I really,
Do you give them a grumpy shot and a happy shot, and then let them choose what do they want to use for their advertising?
That's a really great question. I sometimes feel like I kind of do. I give them a lot of variety of photos, and that is on them.
Here's what you look like 98% of the time.
I don't say it that way, but but really, I don't put it on me to say this is who you are, because it's not my job. I want, how well, because sometimes they'll see that themselves and say, you know what, that's not really who I am all the time. But I think I might need that for my marketing, and that's on them to figure that out and to determine. So my sense of like integrity is satisfied in that it was true. It's not photoshopped. It's not the lighting. It's something true happened. I just allowed it to happen, and I captured it, and I gave it to them to decide what to do with it. And but it was for a while. I literally wrestled with this with another like dating coach who was ended up being another source for my photos. And really, she was a very high integrity kind of person, and would not do the Photoshop, did not believe in that kind of thing. Is like, what, aren't we doing Photoshop here? Like, what are we doing? Is that really who the person is? Because sometimes it was a person that we both know she's not like that, but she's not that lovey-dovey kind of person for dating, but I brought out this amazing, lovey, really kind, loving person. And I was like, it was a really struggle. And I still, actually, I've let go of that. It's really,
I think it's all right. It's it's not that they're not like that. It's that you don't see them like that because you're not dating them. So maybe it is the little look through the keyhole at somebody's personality, because that is them. That's them authentically reacting to something. That's their expression. And maybe the person that dates them sees that. But the rest of the world doesn't.
That's actually really true. I think at some point I kind of forgot about that, because that's actually what I came up with. Even when I do my dating photography, it's a little bit like touchy, whatever. I don't know how touchy feel we can go here, but part of what was on me and what I was capable of doing and realized I just loved doing is during my dating photo shoots, I was like, something would happen. I would naturally see the best in the person. And I realized and then I would show them what I saw. I would tell them, and I would find a way to let them really trust me, that I'm not trying to, don't want anything from them. I'm just speaking my truth. and watching them and say, you can really believe me. Usually, yeah, sure, right. And then I would encourage them and I say, there's nothing I want out of this. I just speaking my truth. You can take it as like a gift if you want. And then I would watch them take it in and literally be changed in front of my eyes, right? Be a different person. And then I click them in this elevated state of who they are. And then at the end of the day, so this is what kind of kept me in the industry is like, wow, at the end of the day is like, I kind of changed a life. I may allow them to see themselves differently because now they have the proof of the photo of who they really are. And the reason why I'm saying this now from what you said is, again, like, oh, what did I do? Is that really not her, that person, me like being in my own sense of integrity. But actually that's exactly perfect for dating photography, because usually when people think they're not photogenic and are not photogenic and are grumpy or not, because they feel bad about themselves. Like they feel insecure, bad about themselves. But when anybody feels loved, right, they are different. So actually it's true. It's really a more truthful representation to capture them feeling good about themselves, because that's likely how they will more often be when they have a committed, loving relationship of somebody's around them that is always loving them and letting them know that how wonderful they are. They will be that. So yeah. So it's actually truthful in some strange way.
Yeah, when you're on a photo shoot, you don't normally get that much specific, I don't know, viewing. You don't get a person looking at you like that in regular day-to-day life. But if you have a photographer there that's like a professional seer,
wow, that's actually what a cool phrase. Wow,
then that's going to be you're shining the light on that person, and then they're like, okay, now I can see that they can see this in me, and they're trying to bring it out. And that's how that guard comes down, I think, because the person is like, oh, well, it's like a tax person looking at your tax returns you've done yourself, and they go, well, this is marvelous. I've never seen such organization. Then if you had somebody telling you that, and you're normally a grumpy person or don't feel good about yourself, and then you have this person that looks at people for a living and goes, hey, you got something there. You've got that. And then you believe it because they're a photographer and they wouldn't be making a living off capturing these moments unless they were good at it. So that's the difference between the person that has that eye for photography and the person that doesn't. And then you're sitting there behind the lens or in front of the lens of that, and that person is telling you what they see, then that's got to make you feel better about yourself to a point where you're going to get a different look than most people are going to get. And in dating, especially, I'm sure that's, if you look at a picture of somebody on a dating website and then you go out with them and you don't see that face, you don't see that moment of them, then that's not the right person, because it does exist. You have a picture of it, and it's not a picture that's been put through a filter or anything like that. So yeah, I like it.
Really interesting. And I love the professional looker.
Yeah, professional seer. Yes.
Yeah, that's really, it's so funny because that's what I was. And when I was, telling my friends, hey, I want to teach people about that, saying, yeah, that's just you, John. That's not really teachable. And I think to some degree it is, because sometimes it wasn't a visual thing, actually. So a lot of the stuff, because really it wasn't visual. Some of it was like, telling them, wow, what a beautiful smile you have, or something like that. And then I would promise them, I'd always telling them, I really wanted them I needed them to really believe it, to like really take it in. And I would say, this is what I would say, like, this is my vow. And I use that word vow, this is my vow to you, that if there's something nice comes out of my mouth, it's my vow that it's my truth. I promise I will not say something just to fluff you, just to make you feel good. If I say something, it's going to be true. There's nothing I want out of this. It's just my truth. And it gives them a little bit, allowing them to really, okay, maybe I'll trust, maybe I'll believe you. And sometimes I find, random things, like even about the shoot, like they came on time. Wow, you were really impeccable with your timing. You even came early and you called me. That was so cool. I imagine, and then I kind of try to fit it in with dating. Wow, I find some way, like, imagine you'd be a great catch for somebody that just really trusts you. You seem like you're a really trustworthy person. I just, and every time really, even during the shoot, I'm like really part of my shoot was my job as a professional seer. And it was like something clicked. It's kind of funny. I was telling people about this, like in real life, I'm a judgmental, I'm like judgmental as the next guy. And it's like, I don't do that, but somehow some switch goes off in my brain when the client is about to come into my studio that like my heart is now open and I'm really wanting to see their bestness.
Yes. You're looking for it.
I'm looking for it. And I do.
People in the world don't do that to other
Right.
people mainly. You just ignore them or get what you need from them, but you're there to see them.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny that I don't even do that in my normal life. But for some reason I give myself permission almost, because it's scary for me too, because like, it really is. It's actually not simple for me as the receiver of it, because now I kind of like fall in love with my clients, like not like that kind of, it's like, because I'm just see, it's kind of scary to see. There's something that happens about choosing to see the bestness, to see the amazingness of anybody you're with. It's not a normal thing, and it's kind of it's risky. I don't know why. I don't quite get it, but somehow it's risky, and we just generally don't do it. We limit our awareness of other people to see how amazing they are, and I don't know why quite. But it's risky. I don't quite even get why, but it's risky.
There you go. Yeah. You don't want to be rejected, but you also don't want to creep people out. And in society today, people are, I think, less likely to take compliments, just compliments. So it's different. And then I think it's probably different from male to female. Like I think women are more used to being looked at than men. And I can't think of many times in my life where I felt looked at. And I was going to me and my wife were going to Nordstrom's for this fashion show type thing. It's a different story. But anyway, I had on a Nordstrom suit and it looked good. And when I put it on at home, I was like, wow, this is nice. Tailored, a nice suit, not tailored for me, like not bespoke for me, but a regular off the rack suit that I had tailored. And I walked into like the information area of Nordstrom's, and the lady behind the counter, she was doing something, and then she looked up, and that's one of the first times I felt looked at. And I was like, it's got to be the suit. She's definitely seeing this suit. It's a good looking suit. And then I thought, wow, is this what women go through almost all the time, where people are looking at them, whether it's like a lustful look at, an appreciative look at, a look at of beauty. Like I think women are in charge of the allure in the human world. Like in the bird world, the man is in charge of allure. So you have the peacock going around doing dances, colorful birds, all that. But in the human world, it's the ladies. So it's an uncomfortable thing, or maybe it's a different type of feeling if you're not used to it. And like when I was policing, you feel looked at, not in the sense of people are admiring you, but they're watching you. So then you're like, well, I got to make sure I'm acting right and that my uniform's good and all that. So you got to represent well. And that maybe is a different type of thing than putting on a nice suit and seeing somebody notice the suit. I guess maybe that's it. You're being noticed more. So in photography, when a person's coming there, they're there to be noticed, and you're there to notice them, and you're trying to capture those moments. So I don't think you're out there maybe photographers out there in the real world all the time, whether they're taking pictures of people or things. That's that eye for photography where you just look up and you go, whoa, this person's sitting at the table right here. That's a striking image. I got to take a picture of that. Or the way the light hits this bell tower. And you're like, oh, people don't normally stop and look at that. But if I take a picture of it, people look at it and they go, that's interesting. I've never seen it like that. What kind of filter did you use? It's no filter. That's truth and reality as far as regular photography equipment goes. And I think that's why if you get too good on your photography, and as I talked about before, seeing more than the human eye sees seeing it more clearly, more sharply, that then it becomes the soap opera effect, or like with video where it seems too real. And you go, you got to back off that resolution a little. This isn't how I see things in the real world.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering how to apply this, all that, where to fit that all in. That was cool stuff.
But it's the same thing you're doing when they get there. You're already noticing them more. So you're on time, punctuality. That's great. That's a great suit selection. Why don't you have a seat here? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, you're building that rapport with them. And I don't think it's not, people could look at it and say, that's what you're paid to do. But I mean, you are paid to take the picture and you want to capture that perfect moment. But still, it's just you, as the professional seer, you appreciate things that people don't normally see because they're too busy in their life to see it. So that's when people say you got to slow down and take a look around. That's what they're talking about, is see all that beauty around you and how you don't normally look at those things.
Right. The other weird thing is that, like I was saying, I think I said before, like I'm not that in normal life. I want to be. It's kind of weird. Like for some reason, I get to have this thing when I'm in even dating photos. Like if anybody's watching, I don't really do this for headshots, but and for some reason with dating photos, it's a little bit more, I had a sense that it was a little bit more permission to be a little bit more real, to be a little bit more genuine, because they know this is not a headshot. There's something different. They need to capture personality. It was so flirting or praising somebody or whatever. Oh, that could work. Headshot. I don't cross that line because it really could feel like a line is crossed somehow with the dating world. Being that genuine seems. I seemed like there was a permission, and I also asked my client for that permission just to be certain. And often there was a form we filled out and we signed a contract saying, yes, John might say nice things to me, might feel like he's flirting with me and he's not, and I accept this or not, and usually people would do that because they knew that's what, because people, I had a reputation and I delivered. I had amazing, the shoots themselves were like a transformational experience. They had this experience and that was part of it. And they wanted it. They would not say no, but I just needed to get that permission first. But what I was, and I wanted to know that that it was okay, even though I kind of assumed it was, but I wanted to be certain. What I was saying, it's kind of interesting that I allow myself permission to do it because it's my job and that's how I can serve my client. Is I know I have to do this, and therefore I kind of give myself permission that I get to do it because it's part of what I'm supposed to do. But and it's almost like I want to trick myself in real life to do that more often, but I need more excuse. I kind of don't do that. Like in normal life, I don't look around looking for the best in people. My normal filters and judgments happen and I just let them happen, and they do. And it's kind of, I wish they didn't. Like I wish I had more attention to that, because I know I can do it. I know, I do it there. Why can't I do it there? I would like to find more motivation to do that in my daily life, actually,
I wonder if that's a connection to wherever creativity comes from. Like if you're a writer and you get into that zone of writing, then when you're a photographer, it stands to reason you get into a zone of photography, of seeing. And I wonder if that creative force is the same, or maybe a different part of the same, or a different thing altogether, that muse. And when you show up in that time and place to do photography, you're open to it. But when you're out in the real world, you put that armor on of, now I have to exist in the real world. I can't just walk around like Buddy the Elf from Elf, mystified by all these new things I'm seeing. So I imagine it's there. You probably, I wouldn't call it a trick, kind of like the monkey dance it's not, it's a tool. I wouldn't call it a trick. I think it's a tool. So here's a tool for when you're in public to be able to click into that photography creative muse. And that is, pretend you're a casting director for films, or that you're looking for people for certain ad programs or something. And now you're out there and you're looking at people more closely than you would normally in real life, because you think that guy right there would be good in a Star Wars cantina scene. This person over here would be good in a, some sort of dancing movie, just the way they move, the way they look, the way they're dressed, all those things. And I think that's going to help click into those things. Like oftentimes I see people, and because I write more than photography or whatever, but I'm still visualizing the writing. That's still not photography, but I do notice things more than I think I used to, just in nature. It's that more appreciation for it. But if I'm thinking about a character in something I've written or something I've been thinking about or something I've read or whatever, then you look at that and you go, oh, that's capturing that essence of that character. And you're going to see that person more than just a face passing in the street. So,
That's so cool.
Interesting exercise.
That's more than interesting. It's kind of life changing, honestly. So I really had no clue. I forgot what to call you. What I call you again?
TR.
TR. Okay.
TR. Yeah.
I wasn't expecting like a therapy, like a personal growthy kind of me, like receiving. But that's like a life changing thing for me. That idea, like truly, like couldn't figure out how to bridge that. And what a great idea! But it'd still be like a switch I can switch. And I'd have to think, oh yeah, I'm doing this, but it gives me the opportunity to be that, which I love. I love being that when I'm in a shoot, and I kind of, how do I bridge it? It's a trick, tool, a trick to allow myself the permission to do that in real life. And yeah, thank you, man.
To notice those things. And sometimes I think about standing in line somewhere, and a guy had a prosthetic leg from the knee down. And I think we were at like an amusement park or something. And then like the way the line goes back and forth. And there was a guy on the other side of us, the person with the prosthetic legs in front of me. And then this guy on the other side's just looking at it. And I notice him looking at that just because of policing. So now in policing, I'm watching people a lot, checking for weapons, seeing what they're looking like. So another little tool to use to be observant. But anyway, this guy is looking at it through the eyes of a doctor that does prosthetics. We didn't know that, but he said to the guy, I couldn't help but notice your prosthesis. And that's how the conversation started. And then they had a little conversation about different types of air shocks and liquid shocks to go on the bottom of the foot to be able to articulate it. And it's interesting because that's what the doctor looks at. So when he sees that, that's why he's observant toward it. Yeah. And I think in the dating world, that's probably the same, because when you're looking for someone to date, you're observant to those things. But once you've achieved that, now you're looking at something else. Like maybe you're in the professional world and you're looking for somebody that you think can, lawyer this case better than another or whatever. So you're around those industry types and you're observant for that. So I think it's just turning off and on that observation of different things. And it's interesting. So cool. Yeah. Once you know you can look at it from different ways, that you can turn that off and on. And you can say, okay, casting director, that's what I'm going to do. Or I'm going to look at this as a comedian. Like if I'm doing a running commentary of just people passing by while I'm sitting in a food court or just people watching, and you got to make up stories for each one of these people that's going to make the person beside you laugh. And that's a different type of observation than the others. But
I love this, man.
And then it also helps from the police world of, if you have a suspect or somebody that you see and you want to remember what they look like, you say that stuff out loud to yourself, like blue jeans, black shirt, 5'8", long black hair. You say those things out so you can remember them a little better. But I found also I would, if they look like a famous person, then I would say they look like this guy. A kind of a, in the stylings of Robert De Niro. And then the guy's running through the streets, and it's easier for other police to pick up on it and go, oh, hey, there's that guy. That looks like Bobby right there. So that's an interesting way to be observant too. I think it's just turning that off and on.
Yeah, that's huge actually. I'm not seriously, that's like huge, I think. And that's like, I almost want, sometimes when I see somebody with an idea or whatever, I say, dude, do that. Like really, that's like a workshop. That's like really that could change. I love seeing things like that when there's something like that's amazing. That's a life-changing concept for people to
Yeah.
have. It really is. And for
You
me,
can
like
develop
really,
it pretty
so I
quickly.
think I'm forever change. Like I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna try it out. And it's always I've struggled with. Oh, I wish I could have that in real life. And what do I do? It's like kind of simple. Pretend you're a whatever. Pretend you're whatever, and you get to pretend you're whatever. When you're pretending you're whatever, you can see something changes that you could see something. And the cool thing too about it is like it's all about what we choose to look for.
Yep.
Like it's not about reality. It's about, and we know that about judgments, about prejudice and judgments, and we look for it, we find it, but it could go the opposite way, like of expecting to see an amazing, or even somebody but if you're expecting to see the best, that person, then you don't like them even. But if you change your expectations, you're looking for their amazingness or something. My guess is you'll probably find it.
Yeah, you're gonna find some redeeming value of something. And
Yeah.
I bet that when you're out in public and you see people taking pictures, you probably notice them more than other people.
Not,
Or
believe it or not, not
and I,
really. When I'm out in the public, like I don't. No, for some reason when I'm not working, I'm not paying attention to shooting or anything like that. Sometimes I might like, oh, they're trying to do a selfie of themselves. I say, I can help you out with that. And I don't even tell you. By the way, I'm a professional photographer, but they just
yeah.
got a little extra thing there. Can I
What are you
actually
trying to
some other?
capture in this selfie?
What do you
What are you trying to capture in this selfie? I'm going to need you to look up
think?
at the
Right.
sky, do this monkey thing, and then look back at me. Let's see what we get.
No, and there's different versions of the monkey dance, and also usually to get there's different ways of there's different ways of accomplishing that same thing. Just so you know, I know you were just kidding, but it's like being disarmed. Two things: being disarmed, being distracted by the camera, and at the same time being a particular thing. So you have either you're just distracted from the camera, and sometimes that's good enough. You get something useful, but if you can add in distracted from the camera and have a real something, then you win the lottery. You get, oh my God, who that you get a chosen something. But sometimes literally, when I shoot group photos or family photos, or whatever, I'm just an idiot and I'm just saying stupid things. And sometimes depending on how stiff they are, like I really go like, oh, who cut the fart? It's like I do
Right.
whatever I have to do to disarm them completely. And even if they're really proper people, I might say something like that because I know it's not, these other lame things are not working. I got to work hard, and I do. And sometimes I'm doing dancing to make sure that they're cracking up because that's my job. My job is not to get them cracking up. My job is to capture a photo of a loving family that love and like each other. So that's really interesting. That's my job. It's not to take a picture of family. It's a picture of a family that they can look and say, wow, we're a wonderful family. And they're all pissed off at each other, blah, blah, blah. So family reunion, somebody was late, somebody didn't show up. They're pissed off. Somebody just said something, they're pissed off at each other. They don't like each other. I don't give a shit, pardon my language. I don't care if they don't like each other. Right now they do. Right now I'm going to make certain that my job is accomplished of making certain that when they say, wow, we just so love each other. And usually that happens with just laughter and happiness, that we're happy to be sitting next to each other. And so I can't stop till I accomplish that goal,
Yeah.
So
Act like you love each other, but not sarcastically. All right.
but no, but that's interesting. So I don't say, but I know you said it sort of, offhand, but we're not saying act like you love each other. Well, we're saying, I know that the happiness means things when you see it in a photo. And that often means I'm happy to be standing next to this person I'm standing next to. And when you see it, oh, we love each other. There's interpretation. And that's what, that's the kind of foundation of all my work, whether it's headshots or portrait, whatever it is. It's like capturing truth that ends up, it could be interpreted in a way that will allow somebody to see, oh, that's true. easily, to allow somebody to easily say, oh, I think I get something that's real here, you know? And it was kind of easy to do it. I just had to act like an idiot, but I'm committed to get it, no matter how much of an idiot I have to act like. And sometimes
Yeah.
I work at it. I'm like sweating at the end of a shoot sometimes to, you know, do what I have to do. I'm kind of actually share another piece of this whole thing that it's really,
Sure.
that's a different kind of, it's same, but different kind of thing. And it's really, we sort of talked about it with the dating photos. Like I see them and I allow them to be seen. And there's something that happens during the shoot that would feel like, wow, they just changed in front of me, you know, period. Somehow I saw it. They just now feel different about who they are. And there's something that just, whoa. And then also on top of that, they saw the pictures that now you can't deny the photo now because there's this, here's the thing. Now, because there's this element of candidness in the photo, which all my photos have, that makes the photo undeniable because candids are undeniable. You can't fake a candid. And when you see candid, you don't even wonder if it's true. It's obvious. There's no questioning it. It's so true. So can you imagine for something more, if I was to capture, okay, here's the two options I see, like, you know, with photography, with headshot photography, that there's two options. Somebody can create this gorgeous setup, perfect lighting, perfect everything, just gorgeous. The person's so beautiful. And the subject could end up saying, wow, Jon, you took an amazing photo. Thank you so much. You did such a great job. I look so beautiful. Thank you. It's so great. I'm going to tell all my friends about you. You're amazing. Or another option, wow, I didn't know I was that. And they're able, and I can see and feel it. They're actually, they now get to believe it, because often their own natural instinct is to reject it, to say, no, I'm not that. I suck. I'm not that, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But now they're almost forced to have an opportunity. They have an opportunity, it's still just an opportunity, but to fully see themselves truly in their soul, different than they ever thought they were. And sometimes, and so if I'm able, so my sense of the truth of headshot photography is like, you have an obligation, Mr. Photographer, Mrs. Photographer, to do the very best for your client, to show them who they are in the way that will convert their viewers as a real person. Yes, I agree. But to me, there's a bonus there too, which I get touchy, I get choked up a little bit. I'm feeling like kind of tingly right now saying this, but guess what? There's a bonus. Like the subject, I don't tell them this is going to happen, but it really could. When the subject, whoever the subject is, when they look at that photo now they have the opportunity also to see themselves, to take it in on a deeper level than otherwise, to say, wow, I didn't know I was that. Whatever that is that you just created for them, strong, confident. Like for me, I have a photo from a professional. Wow. Actually, and it's kind of lacking that believability. So he did a great job, but it's not quite believable enough. And I could get to say, it's just a photo. It's just the photographer. It's just the lighting. It's my clothing. It's the look. And it's almost like, but I can believe it a little bit. But my goal is to make it so undeniable, believable that person look at it can truly get to believe it and be changed maybe forever about who they think they are. And that to me, and I saw that happening with dating photography, and that's really what kept me in the industry of dating photography, because I saw myself, life's changing in front of me, and then feeling better, more as a catch, and I just let you know, these were middle-aged, mostly women, 50, 60 divorced women. It so happened that was my clientele. It just sort of, that was my marketing, whatever it happened. And these are people that are feeling bad about themselves. They were feeling, I don't want to do this again. I'm not photogenic. Now I think I'm not photogenic. I am not photogenic. I'm not the way I looked. I'm my weight, my age, whatever it is, this sucks. And somehow, if I was able to show them being amazing and beautiful and a loving, wonderful catch, like, then that means that if I can show it, if I not show it, if I can capture truth of that, right, through whatever things I have to do that, and now when they see it, them saying, oh my, them literally, and I have a test. I wish I had the testimonial, but now I see myself differently, and I realize I really am the catch. And can you imagine what that could do in their dating life to now go forward on the next day, feeling secure about them, their worthiness, like, it's like, holy cow. And I kind of realized that just got me, honestly, really got me to stay in, because I had to kind of invent an industry. Like, there wasn't an industry of dating photography. There wasn't a market. There wasn't a way to market it. People think their friends could take their picture. I don't need you. I don't need to buy something. But I had to find ways of getting people through the door to say, no, this is different. And I had kind of ways of getting them free, whatever it was. I had ways to get them through the door to allow me to take the picture in this particular way. And, oh, this is not what I was imagining. This is different. And I forgot where I was going with that. But so I had to be very committed to it. Actually, that's where I was going. So I had to be very committed to the industry. And I was, because I just loved the way I felt afterwards, of like, I was not a photographer. I was kind of a therapist. I was changing lives, and I just felt so good about the whole thing. And so, still know where I was going with that. But this became the foundation of what I really cared about, and it still is, honestly. And I was just telling my team earlier today, like, I'm about to, sell a master class. And I just did a few videos, the preview videos, right? And even in the video, I said, you know what, my team might not like this, but I want to tell you what I really care about. These are for headshot photographers that really are into perfection, and they have a job to do. And I was like, you know what I really care about is there's an extra thing that can happen when you do it this way, is that your client, whoever they are, you can change their lives by doing this stuff. And I'm just telling them honestly, that's what I really care about. And that's really why I'm doing this. And it was risky, because I'm going to get people saying, yeah, I don't want to work with this guy because he's touchy feeling. I'm not. Yeah. So I'm almost weeding down my audience by being so genuine. And literally today I talked with them about that. And I got one of my people that's really practical, my marketer person in my team, Zoom. I'm pointing to the Zoom square. I knew she might have some issues. I'm not willing to bend on this, because I really listen and trust her, but she's the one that knows this stuff. And I'm a little touchy, I'm not quite teary-eyed, but this is really profound for me right now, saying what I'm going to say. And I'm being real. I've taken that video, and even right now with you, I get to be real in this business. And I'm not going to hold back on being who I really am and how much I care about this and certain things that I really care about. And I wasn't sure, because I'm just about to launch it, like maybe next week. And it's been like years of prepping and figuring out how to make money off of selling a product, of teaching somebody this stuff. And it ends up last minute, this is what I care about. And you might not like it, and I'm okay with that, because this is true. I see that something else is possible with photography. And I'm not going to stop till I really bring that to life in my own work. And I really would love to share that with you, to know that, there's something more possible. And on one level, it's in how we serve our clients. You know what? We can add this thing that allows their potential clients to say yes easier, if we bring out the realness of them, to allow their target audience to say, oh, sure, I like you, I want to work with you, that's possible. And to actually capture the right personality, to bring out the right personality. And also, it's possible that your photo could truly change your subject's life. And I kind of, like, in my thinking as a photographer and as a teacher, I can't, that's really what I'm about, is bringing to our world other aspects of the work we do, as something else is possible. And I would like us to talk about it. And you can choose if you want to go there, but at least let's talk about it.
What's the best way for people to find your class and follow your work, or be able to contact you?
I wish I was ready for you. If I can do this quickly. Got a link right here. Hopefully I can find it. Is this, I don't even know. Is this a live?
I mean, we're alive right now, but we're recording and it's going to be released tomorrow. So
Got it. Hopefully I will have that in 1 second. Here we go.
I've got the johnfisherphotography.com.
Nope, that's not it.
And then the datingphotography.com.
No, that's not it. That's not it either.
Oh,
I just
okay.
put it in it's a private chat. I'm not sure how I sent it to you. I just sent it to you.
Okay.
In the private chat. Is that where I should send it?
That's fine. I just got to pick it up here. Okay.
And so I'm just launching, we're about to, and really what I care about, where I'm at now is being less of a photographer than I want to bring some gold. What I think is this absolute gold that we're kind of, we're missing. We're missing this element of headshot photography or camera where we're missing. It's like this concept of authenticity is sure it's lighting, and sure you can throw in some realness, but dude, realness has so much. First of all, it's sometimes what actually works, does the job as a marketer for your client, and there's so much potential there that we're just not looking at. And I want us to look at it. So I have a masterclass coming up.
Okay. I got it. I'll put it in the links for the show notes as well as your website links and all that.
Thank you.
Any thoughts in closing or anything that you wanted to talk about that we didn't?
Well, I'm just really grateful for this. And it's like this, I've just started doing podcasts. It's like my 6th, 7th, 8th one, whatever it was, but this was different. And actually, so I'm grateful to you. And knowing that we could have this genuine, it was like a genuine conversation, which is, and I actually, that idea that you had of pretending I'm a director, like literally, I now have an opportunity to be a better person, like to live life differently, that I get to look at people. I have a trick that you gave me of how to allow myself to see the best of the people that are around me easily. And I'm grateful for that. I'm really grateful for this conversation. I'm grateful for that. I was able to be so real. This is the first time that I've done that so publicly, and it's something new for me. So thank you very much.
Yeah, it's a good talk. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you on the other side of this musical exit here.
Sounds great.